Are we ready for the Star Wars Multiverse? I suppose a better question would be, is the Star Wars universe as we know it even compatible with multiple realities and interdimensional timelines? While we have seen instances of similar circumstances, such as the world between worlds, I wholeheartedly do not believe a form of multiverse could ever work in Star Wars. That formula may have been fine for the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Flashpoint comic series, but from my perspective, it would go against everything we know about Star Wars history and make meaningless the core of it all. First off, the Star Wars history is our own history. Back before the Romans, before the ancient Egyptians, there was the Galactic Republic. There must be a single timeline. One started long before Anakin and the Jedi Order existed, the same one in which we live now. Think back to Marvel's Infinity War. I can barely remember it, I watched it only once, but I'm pretty sure that the good guys completely lost. But thanks to multidimensional travel and time jumping, they were able to go back and correct their errors and win in the end. I'm sure the stakes were high and it wasn't simply shown as a video game with an unending reset button, but still, it cheapens the payoff. If there is a way to go back and redo the timeline, the gravity of each important scene is reduced. Not to mention parallel universes and alternate galaxies with unending, slightly different outcomes. Say, for example, Obi-Wan is killed on Mustafar 217. General Grievous becomes the Emperor on Coruscant 3855, or any other number of timelines that would differ from the one we have now. Sure, it may be fun to speculate the what-ifs, but for those what-ifs to become canon would destroy the canon. I've heard people for years hoping and living on the dream that Dave Filoni will, through the world between worlds, branch the timeline in a way that retcons the sequel trilogy and makes Rey, the First Order, Kylo Ben, Snoke, and all the other parts of it the fake timeline. And for as much as I still don't really love the sequel trilogy, I just can't get on board with this idea. Star Wars needs to have one definitive timeline. Branches through the world between worlds or visions of what could be are fine, but Star Wars needs a central, grounding timeline, even if that timeline includes the sequels.